yet because yeah, so today Saturn just entered into Aquarius, and so everyone's talking about that. But the part two of this exciting chapter is that Jupiter is going to enter into Aquarius also, and that is going to happen um, on, let's see here, that is going to happen on, sorry, I was trying to also press record on my Zoom. So that's going to happen on the 19th. So that's in just a couple days here. That's on Saturday. So pretty exciting that we will have two outer planets moving into Aquarius at the same time, basically. And then they're going to conjoin on December 21st, 2021. Or I'm sorry, they're going to conjoin on, I'm already ahead here. They're going to conjoin on December 21st, 2020. And that is going to start a whole 20-year cycle. And I talk a lot about that conjunction. It's known as the Great Conjunction. I talk a lot about that in my previous Instagram Live. But the one thing I didn't touch explicitly on, which I was kicking myself for, is that so when we talk about moving from earth to air, we're talking about very grounded, very material, moving into air, which is light, and it's all about circulation. And so when Saturn moved into Aquarius earlier in the year, I was thinking, universal basic income, that is going to become like a larger area of focus. Certain politicians, namely like Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang, like they were already talking about it. And I was like, this is, starting to be embraced a little bit. A lot of people are unsure about it thus far, but I was like, this is going to become a much bigger topic. And sure enough, based on the pandemic and people not being able to get to work, we got our first, what I would consider like basic income. We got a little stipend from the government. And, it's our money. We pay taxes, so we deserve that. And our governments should help us, because we're always paying into our governments. So yeah, but I think that with the vast inequalities of income and and basically like possession of monies, I think that this, like, how do we solve that crisis moving forward? And I think that this Jupiter Saturn conjunction in air, Jupiter Saturn is said to rule the economy. And so to see it moving from this very material element of earth into air, which is all about circulation and sharing, and what benefits me benefits all, that kind of mentality. I think we're going to see more serious conversations around what that could look like. So that was one little note I had from last time that I wished I'd shared in more explicit detail. But yeah, I talk a lot more about that Jupiter Saturn conjunction in the previous video. So today I wanted to talk a little bit more about Jupiter in Aquarius, because I feel like it just didn't get enough love last time. I went through the signs and there's just a larger focus on Saturn. And the reason for that is because the further out a planet is and the longer it stays in a sign, the more influence it has. Because with Saturn, that's where like critical developments are taking place. So we're going to pay more attention to Saturn in general. Jupiter's also really cool. Jupiter's also really important. It spends 1 year in each section of your birth chart. It spends 1 year in each sign of the zodiac. And so it's going to spend about a year in every house in your chart. And so, yeah, Jupiter moving into Aquarius. So if you want to know the key details about where that is in your life, I did that in the last video, but this one I'm going to add just like another layer to it. So yeah, the last time Jupiter was in Aquarius was 2009. And I know that that was a really amazing year for me. I look back in my ephemeris and I was like, what was going on in 2009 when Jupiter was in Aquarius? And whew, big transformation in my life. And so I'm really looking forward to what comes up for me this year. Again, I'm also in a major transition in my life with becoming a mom and everything like that. So I'm really excited to see what my life looks like after this next transit, because 2009, that was a big, big year for my life. So yeah, think back to 2009, and you probably had a bunch of other transits going on as well, but that was the last time Jupiter was in this area of your chart. And so you can glean a lot of insights just from that alone. The time before that was 1997. So every 12 years. And then the time before that was 1985. And the time before that was 73. And the time before that was 1961. And so why is that important? Well, if you were born in any of those years, then you have Jupiter Aquarius natally. And that means that you are in your Jupiter return this year. And Jupiter returns are lovely. Alicia says 2009 was nuts. Yeah. Yeah, 2009, we're getting repeats here. So, oh, well, someone says, Fade and Remain says, Dear God, please not a redo of 2009. Well, you were probably, if it was bad, then it probably wasn't just Jupiter that you had going on. It was probably some other transits. Now, Jupiter has a reputation for abundance and luck and prosperity and blessings. And so you probably had other stuff going on too. But Jupiter, thinking that it's all just blessings and positivity all the time, that is a little bit of the hot air element that comes with this planet that tends to inflate and be overly optimistic and want more, 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 more. So the other thing that Jupiter can do is that if there's something that you really need to see in order to get more freedom, in order to create more space in your life, Jupiter will behave like a magnifying glass, enlarge any issues that you need to spend a little bit more time figuring out and solving. Or it just, maybe it's not just something within you, maybe it's something just in your sphere. So yeah, but 2009, there was probably other transits that you had going on too. But anyways, if you have Jupiter in Aquarius natally, you would have been born in one of those years, 2009, 97, 85, 73, 61, so forth, then you're having a Jupiter return. And those years are extra special. A lot of astrologers started to have like their first interest in astrology kick in around the age of 12, because 12 and increments of 12 are associated with expansion and awakening and discovery. And so your Jupiter return year is going to be a lot. It's going to have a lot of those elements of discovery and growth and opportunity and blessings. So you're definitely going to want to look for those. However, because Saturn is also there, you're going to get a little mix of both. You're going to have the blessings coming in, and this goes for everyone really, having Jupiter and Saturn in one area. You're going to get a mixed bag of the blessings of that house, and also you're going to be doing the work. And one of my astrology teachers used to say, with Saturn, you what you put in, you're going to get out. But with a little bit of Jupiter, your efforts can pay off tenfold. So keep that in mind when going into 2021. So what does Jupiter in Aquarius mean? That is like the big thing I want to really focus on today. So like I said, Jupiter is like a big magnifying glass. It's huge. It's going to add emphasis and put like a spotlight onto Aquarian topics. So Aquarius tends to deal with things like social justice and human rights. So that those topics are going to continue to be really important in 2021. And I know we're already having lots of fruitful conversations on what we need to do to change, what we believe needs to change, and the change that we would like to see in the world to create a space of more equality for folks. So the thing also to keep in mind with Aquarius is that it's not about someone saving us. It's not about waiting for someone else to do the work. With Aquarius, it's every man, or every person rather, it's each and every one of us plays a part. It's not about the opposite sign, which is Leo. Collectively, it's not about fame and glory and doing taking action just for likes and attention and acceptance. Like, it's not about that at all. It's about implementing your values for what you want to see change in the world, for the greater good. It's something that you do because you believe in it fully. You believe that these actions or getting behind these movements, or you vote with your dollar, you vote with your time, you vote with your follows, you vote with your attention. And so, yeah, I mean, big change, it really does begin with you and me. And it sounds corny, but it really does start to happen at a grassroots local level. And speaking of grassroots, I'm a fan of Bernie Sanders, and his tagline was always "not me, us." And I just think that that's so Aquarian. And so just keep that in mind, that it's not about me anymore. Like, it's about us. It's about making this world work better for everyone. So, yeah, some other Aquarius themes that we're going to see kind of enlarged, thanks to Jupiter, is technology. And so, yeah, I mean, look at what this pandemic has done. It's put us all much more dependent on our devices. We're all just like functioning on Zoom all the time. And so, yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to get bored of Zoom. I think a lot of people are really starting to get burnt out from that. So what's next? What comes after that? And I think we're going to start to see more innovations in the realm of technology, because what we have is great, but we want more options. We want variety to access some of the things that we are forced to do online now. And I think it'll bring innovation. I think this is just the seed that is going to help to really, really revamp things like education, like how we learn. I mean, I can remember growing up in school and being like dissatisfied with the structure around education. And I mean, in a lot of ways it does need to change, especially when it comes to access to education, especially at like a university level. So I think that this period, we're not going to see like sweeping changes this year necessarily, but we're going to start to see some seeds prickle up, and things start to arise that could start to grow and bear fruit in the future. Um, so yeah, accessibility for all. This is like a very Aquarian thing. Um, the other thing that I would say is going to be a very big topic for the year is science. Aquarius is a sign of science. And as I mentioned in the last video, Saturn in the sign highlights the caution or the fear around technology, the fear around science. And so, yeah, these vaccines are coming out, and duh, like, of course, there's going to be trepidation about it, but this is also a time to celebrate the advancement of our species. Like, that's the thing that makes human beings unique and special, is that we do have this gift of intelligence. We do have this gift to be creators. Now, when you do start tampering with the elements, with nature, there are risks. There are potential risks, and that is you see that theme present in stories like Frankenstein, in even like the story of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to create accessibility, to create access of intelligence for all beings. And but there were consequences, because then he got tied to a rock, and an eagle had to peck out his liver every single day because he was immortal. And so Prometheus has a lot of parallel with the themes that the sign of Aquarius represents. So we get this theme of science, but also, there are consequences to progress. And one of those is resistance. So there's always going to be people who are resistant to taking that big step forward. And yeah, so science and innovation, those are going to be huge, huge themes. Technology, those are going to be huge, huge themes with Jupiter and Aquarius. But Jupiter moving into Aquarius is a definite upgrade. Jupiter in Aquarius is a huge, huge upgrade from what we had last year with Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter in Capricorn is in its fall. It really struggles to do the things that Jupiter does best. Jupiter is all about abundance and prosperity and joy and celebration and fertility and all these wonderful, wonderful things. It's about belief and faith and hope. And this past year, while Jupiter has been in Capricorn, it's been really, really hard to get those things. You know, it's been this big theme of less is more kind of thing, or let's work with what we have. Let's make the most of what we have. And so, yeah, that's been like a big theme of the past year. And I remember reading in Demetra George's book on ancient astrology, she said that Jupiter in its fall tends to bring a lot of death, actually. And so that is like definitely more of a classical astrology interpretation. And I would never say that to someone who has that in a natal chart because it doesn't apply to that. But collectively, Jupiter and Capricorn, it's less fertility. And I just think about all the plants, all like so much food that was wasted this year, just thrown away because restaurants and schools weren't open. And yeah, and all the lives that were lost due to the coronavirus, and just all the loss of vitality and joy just from being like isolated. And so it's been a really, really rough year. And one of the ways that you could think about Jupiter in Capricorn for 2020 is like, take Beyonce, someone who's amazing and excellent and vibrant and talented, and put her like just working at Walmart her whole life. And not that there's anything wrong with working at Walmart, but I'm just saying that she's not able to use her gifts. She's not able to use her gifts in that role. And so Jupiter hasn't been able to share Jupiter gifts with us for this past year. So Jupiter moving into Aquarius, definite upgrade. Definite upgrade because it's not in its fall anymore. It's still in Saturn's sign though. And so we're still going to be kind of climbing our way out of this hole. You know, Aquarius is about the future. It's about the promise of the future and what can we do with what we have to create something better. And so that is going to be the big focus, but it's not going to be like wild and free and abundant. It's just not going to be that just yet. But when Jupiter gets into Pisces, and that's next, that is going to be really, really awesome. And Jupiter is in its rulership in Pisces. And actually, Jupiter does dip into Pisces this year. So that will be very, very exciting. So that abundance that we had in like 2019 when Jupiter was in Sagittarius, we're going to get that sense of we have everything back. I think that's when things will kind of start to go back to normal, and we'll get a little dose of that this year from May through July. So we'll get a little taste of it, but it really won't be until 2022 that Jupiter is in Pisces again, or in a sign of its rulership again. And we have like that sense of joy and gratitude. That's another Jupiter thing. It's just gratitude, and just look at all the things that we miss out on and we have it back. So I think that, you know, Saturn in Aquarius, everyone's like, well, when is this going to end? When is this pandemic going to end? And I really think it's going to take Saturn's transit through Aquarius to really get to a space where we're moving forward again. So there's that. Yeah, so that's a little bit about what I have to share with you about Jupiter in Aquarius specifically. Yeah, and we can really look forward to that Jupiter in Pisces. And I know we're going to get a little taste of it this year, even. So I'm super excited about that. So, yeah, I wanted to share with you also some insights for your sign. And I already went through each and every one in the last one. So this one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I want to tell you about the cardinal signs, which are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, what you have to look forward to. And then I'm going to move on to fixed signs and mutable signs, and I'll go through those. So, yeah, cardinal signs in 2021. What is the most exciting thing for you? Well, cardinal signs, you have had so much going on. Cardinal signs have really been doing the work. Again, that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Y'all have been going through it, and especially it has especially climaxed in the last year, or basically last yeah, the last year. It's been especially rough. I mean, cardinal signs been going through it. As someone who has 9 significant points in my chart in cardinal, I can tell you I've been going through it since like 2009. It's been crazy. So cardinal signs, you finally get a break this year. Like, it has been just nonstop work, 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 work for you. Like transformation, transformation, go, 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 start up this, start up that, new, new, new. It's been intense for you, cardinal signs. And unless you're at the very, very end of the cardinal signs, you still have Pluto to contend with. So if you have planets in the last like 4 to 5 degrees of the cardinal signs, you still have Pluto to deal with. And I do not want to underestimate Pluto, but cardinal signs been dealing with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter in this last year, and eclipses, and it has been rough. So, cardinal signs, I know you like to be busy. I know you like to start new projects and start moving in new directions. Cardinal signs are really great at starting, not so great at follow through. There's just this excitement that brings cardinal signs alive when it comes to starting new projects and things like that. So, cardinal signs, I know you're probably feeling a little burnout. You finally get to chill. And I'm sure you just feel it like, whew, weight off my shoulders right now. So that is really, really exciting. The next really big thing cardinal signs have to look forward to is Venus is going to be retrograde in Capricorn at the tail end of 2021. So the Capricorn area of our chart gets a big, nice break this year, but at the end of 2021, we have a little bit of recapping to do with the Venus retrograde. So, what's up for fixed signs? Fixed signs in 2021. Now it's your turn. Cardinal signs are basically passing the torch to you, fixed signs, and the fixed signs, that's going to be Taurus, that's going to be Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And you guys are the ones going through it this year with Uranus and Taurus. It's bringing a big wake up call somewhere in your life. And that is going to be for Taurus, that is coming from within you. You're just like, let me try something new. Let me take some risks. For Leo, it's coming from the area of career and self actualization. You're getting woken up to what's possible for you. Like, you don't have to work the same trajectory that you've been creating since you were 25 or whatever. It's time to wake up and shake it up and really stretch your wings, see what's possible. There's a lot of potential for new growth and new possibilities in the realm of career for Leo. For Scorpio, this is coming through relationships. So your area of life is really getting woken up is relationships. So if you've been in like, if you're in a long-term relationship, it's time to like breathe some new life into the relationship. This transit does put some pressure on the relationship to create more space for people to grow and to be experimental with themselves, maybe even open up their relationship. Who knows? If you're single, it's gonna bring like exciting potential partners into your world. So it's going to really heat up like romance and get you to try new things. Like, you didn't think that you would be compatible with this type of person, or you haven't been attracted to this type of person. Well, now you're going to try it, because it's all about waking yourself up to what you thought you wanted in relationships is maybe not what you really need or not what you really want after all. And so you're going to be having like some significant wake ups in that area of life. So it's really, really exciting. Um, and then for Aquarius, this is coming from the area of home and family. So lots of exciting things happening for like home and family. And I know my husband, he's an Aquarius and he just became a dad. And so that is like where his big wake up call is coming in. And then, you know, you have Saturn to contend with. So Aquarius, like there's this big stirring in the depths of your soul about what you're here to do and what life is about and what's important to you. What are your core values? There's this big wake up call there. And then Saturn in your first house is all about, you know, self actualization. You're going to have to put in some work this year, you know, step up, Aquarius. It's going to be really amazing year for you with that. Um, so yeah, and then those planets are going to be squaring off all year. Saturn square Uranus in the fixed signs. We're going to get the first square in February, February 17th, and then June 14th, and then December 24th. And what that aspect does, that's really, really interesting. I should just do a whole other video on that. But Saturn square Uranus says it's time to level up. And we're going to see that in the world. And if it's touching certain areas of your chart, personal planets in your chart, personal points in your chart, it's time to level up. It's time to change the routine, change the structure, change the way you've been doing it to create more room for more opportunities for freedom, more creative expression, more awareness, more awakening in those areas of life. And in the world, it's time to evolve. And I know that here in the States where we're having our Pluto return, it's especially timely because it really is time to make big changes to our system in order to accommodate um, like how diverse we are and the common like the modern day needs that we have, and just our system just isn't working for everyone. And so Saturn in a square to Uranus says it's time to make some critical updates here. And you really don't have a choice in the matter. Like you have to do it. And so we're going to be seeing some big changes. And I think Kamala Harris is our first female VP. She's a woman of color. And it's just really exciting. And I think that she is like kind of one of the first big things that we're seeing that is a manifestation of that aspect. Like it's time to upgrade. It's time to have women in power in this country, right? So yeah, that's what we can expect for fixed signs, major upgrades, major changes. Like it's time to step up, fixed signs. It's your turn. So we're passing you the torch. Mutable signs in 2021. That is going to be you, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. This is an exciting year for you because you have the eclipses in your sign. And you know, I've been getting asked a lot of relationship questions for these signs, the mutable signs. And yeah, there is a really big focus on relationships for some of these signs. So let's go through it. Um So for Gemini and Sagittarius, we're having the eclipses in those signs right now. And then in 6 months, we're going to get another round of eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius. And I could go into what that means on a collective level. I mean, basically, what we're doing is we're making room for multiplicity. The North Node in Gemini says there are many like versions of the truth. And Sagittarius is like, this is my truth. And for your spiritual growth, it is really great to have something that you stand by. It's really great to have a system that, you know, that you can continue to return to and expand your mind and deepen your relationship with yourself and and spirit. But there are many paths of the mountain. There are many paths up that mountain. And so that's what the North Node in Gemini says is to make room for is multiple belief systems and multiple points of view. And there's many ways of looking at something. And it's not all black and white. You know, we could both be right and we could both be wrong. And I think we're so divided right now that this eclipse is so timely because, it's not about me being right all the time. It's like, well, where am I right and where am I wrong, and where are you right and where are you wrong? How can we kind of have a discussion about this? North Node in Gemini, it's all about communication. We're going to start seeing a huge emphasis on the air element coming into this year. We're going to have Mercury retrogrades happening in air signs. We've got Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, that's an air sign, and we have eclipses going on in Gemini. So it really is about communication and sharing ideas. And you know like you can have, like, I'm not there are certain things that I'm extremely intolerant of. Like, I am totally intolerant of racism, homophobia, anything like that. But when it comes to keeping dialogue open, I think that that's something important to remember with the North Node in Gemini and the eclipses coming into Gemini, is that, we have to, it's important, like we can't just like live isolated in our ideas and in our minds. Like, we have to come together and we have to have dialogue. And so the South Node in Sagittarius is inviting us to do a little bit of unlearning and to release some of the rigidity that we have in, like, this is what I believe, and, you know, be open to hearing other points of view and be open to things fitting in more than one box. So that's what's going on. But yeah, so with the North Node and the eclipses in Gemini, for you, Gemini, this is a really big period for you where things are starting to click, lights are starting to go off, you're starting to have new insights coming in. It really is generating new energy in the sphere of your life, like who you are. You're going to feel this very personally. And it's definitely a year of growth. It's also a year of letting go. Eclipses are bringing in new energy and new awareness, but it's also, saying goodbye to some of the old things that used to define us. So new things are coming in. And for Sagittarius, the really big emphasis here is on your relationships. A lot of new relationships are coming in, new awareness around your relationships are coming in. And because eclipses tend to have like a little bit of a faded quality to them, you're gonna be doing a little bit of work in this area of your life, but it's positive. It's bringing in new energy into this area of your life. So someone asked me recently, is this a good time for for Sagittarius in relationships? And the answer is yes. We're bringing in new energy, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be smooth or easy. Eclipses are often a little bit stressful because they'll show you things that you weren't necessarily prepared to see. So, but yeah, overall, it's generating new energy into that area of your life. So for Pisces, the eclipses are happening in your fourth and your 10th house. So the North Node in Gemini, those eclipses are bringing new energy into the area of home and family. So you might be having some new beginnings there. Again, the faded element of eclipses, things are kind of getting put in your path. You might have an opportunity to move. You might want to take it. You might want to think about that, because where the big release is from the area of your career and the things that you wanted and the things that you were really striving for. You might have to reorient your goals a little bit, and say, that's not really in alignment with me anymore. I'm doing a little bit of releasing there as far as what I thought I wanted to achieve in the world. And I'm just need to ground down a little bit and put a little bit more energy at my roots and at my foundation. But because you're also having eclipses in the area of career, there could be like really significant developments going on there as well. So for Sagittarius, or I'm sorry, for Pisces and Virgo, that's where this is happening also, is your fourth and your 10th house. And so, yeah, lots of new developments for you, Virgo, around career. And some things that you're kind of releasing are coming from the area of home and family. So maybe it's time to purge, maybe it's time to get rid of some stuff. Just lighten your load a little bit. And, one thing that the South Node does is it brings an element of spirituality to that area, because the South Node is all about release. And we want to release our attachment, release the Maya, basically, so that we can see that that truth at the root of what it is that defines that area of life to us. And so for you, Virgo, having the South Node sweeping through your fourth house, that is big spiritual clean out. And so doing things like cleanses or fasting or things like that, things of that nature, to just get in touch with your true essence, who you are at your core. And that will be like really fruitful for you. So it's about cleaning house and just kind of getting rid of all the distractions so that you can connect with who you really are, who you really are. And then once you get rooted in that, you can really start to reach for your self actualization of the 10th house. You're getting a lot of awareness coming in around grounding and reaching. So that's for you, Virgo and Pisces. So, yeah, very exciting time for mutable signs with the eclipses, very exciting time for fixed signs with Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter all in the fixed signs. And cardinal signs, whew, take the bench. You've really been going through it. And so, yeah, cheers to 2021. And I also, before I close out, um, I had polled on my Instagram story to take some questions pertaining to this topic. I got a lot of astrology questions not relating to this topic. So, what I've decided to do is to answer those questions either in another video or just on my Instagram story. Haven't quite decided yet, but it is my intention to start bringing more video content to you all this year, because these Instagram lives are really fun for me, and I'm sure that they are fun for some of you as well. So, thanks for joining me tonight. And yeah, Jupiter goes into Aquarius on Saturday. And then we have the solstice on Monday with that exciting Saturn and Jupiter conjunction. And that is just going to start a whole new chapter for us. And I know I'm already starting to feel it, and hopefully you are too. So until next time, take care.